you hear F1 drivers and GT3 drivers, a lot of them will say that they've done a season or an off season or a few weeks of rally, not because they necessarily want to go into rally, but because the skills that you learn in rally are so useful in GT3 racing, GT4 racing, or even F1 and F2. And you have got a bit of experience rallying in a particularly famous case where you, and I quote, beat Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, it's such a scary thing. Like, those are very, like, I don't know. Like, I still get quite. I don't really know how to even react to that, even like all this time later. I mean, I've obviously had people mention that to me, and it's like, oh, what did it feel? What was it like? And these sort of things. But I think if you were to put it in personal context, that you're driving a car that you've driven for 2 laps, you're so far out of your typical comfort zone, let's say, right? Everyone is. That's the point of Race of Champions. You're thrown in a car and you go, right?
Yeah.
So, but you're in this situation. It feels like the world's watching, because it kind of are.
Because they were.
And you're lining up on this, snow, the start line, and you look to your right and you just see the white and German stripe helmet of Sebastian Vettel, and it's you're about to race this man. And it's the scariest, most like your adrenaline is like through the sky, like it's so high. You're like, oh my god, it's such a scary but exhilarating experience, because you're like, it becomes very real in those few seconds. So and I mean, I don't really focus so much on the result in a way, because I feel like I've got a sense of duty that, if I was to be, let's say I was to be quite arrogant about it, right? Which I would never want to do. I don't believe that's the person I am. But if I was to be that sort of, if I was to behave a certain way about it, it's like, walk around with a bit of swagger about it, I think I'd be doing discredit. And it was also discredit to the community, sim-wise, but also I believe that, but that's just not who I am anyway. I mean, it's not something I don't want to ego these things. I believe it's a lot of nonsense in that regard. So for me, I want to be humble in the fact that I even had the opportunity to race Sebastian. There's many drivers on this planet who would love the opportunity even just to drive alongside him. So for me, I want to remember these fundamentals of, you got to drive at Race of Champions and drive alongside Sebastian and Mick Schumacher and Valtteri Bottas and Mika Häkkinen and all the other amazing names that I've had such a genuine lifetime privilege of going up against, and that's how I really want to remember it in a way. Yes, of course, the being able to come out on top is the coolest feeling on the planet, and something that you are so pumped about, but it's not something that I want to go on about, if that makes sense, because it's a weird situation for me, because I feel like I don't want to talk about it too much, because then people will start saying, it's like, oh, look at him, he's on about it again, this sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that is coming across at all. There's like a quiet confidence mixed with a respect about how, because I've seen you talk about the race in the past, and it's that you approach it in the same way, and it feels like a really kind of conscious, almost like calculated, has a bit of a negative